Welcome to the newest interview. This is actually my first interview on the new YouTube channel. I want to welcome this guy next to me, Scott Poore. I met him a couple years ago through the Athens Investor Meetup that I do every month. That's been going on since 2014. So if you haven't been there, check out in the comments below, in the description below, one of those places. So Scott Poore has been an investor for only a few years, but now he is doing very well for himself, and he still has a full-time job. So this is like a great time to interview. Tell us about yourself. Tell us about yourself, Scott Poore.
Yes, well, my name's Scott. I am.
Thank you.
I'm almost 40 years old. 40 years old. Turned 40 next year, and I'm married. Got 2 kids. Got a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. 6-year-old boy and 3-year-old girl. And I've been
this American life.
Yeah, living the dream.
Right.
Living the dream.
Was that part of your orders?
It was
after
not.
You retired.
After I got out of the Marines. No.
They said you have to go get married and have 2 kids.
You know,
and buy a house.
On an order.
All right. So earlier we were talking off the air about what got you interested in real estate. And I bet nobody listening to this has ever heard of this book. Tell us about it.
So about 20 years or 19 years ago, I was in the Marine Corps. I had a mentor of mine. He was a sergeant, a few ranks ahead of me. He gave me the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it.
All right.
So I read that.
Was he also 20-something years old?
He was 30.
30? Oh, well, he was old.
He was 30. I was 20. Old. So, he was an old man.
In the Marine
age. Back then, yeah. And so I read that book. It kind of instilled some stuff in my brain about business and investing. And ever since then, I've been trying to start businesses. I've started a couple side businesses along the way. But then I guess about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I stumbled upon the Bigger Pockets podcast, and kind of
Bigger Pockets.
Got hooked on, doing the real estate thing and financial independence and building wealth that way. And it seemed a little bit faster to do it that way than investing in stocks and, saving and all that. So just been kind of rocking and rolling ever since then, and, getting myself into trouble and having some success along the way.
All right. So, but you bought a house, a property, before you were an investor, right?
I did. Bought my first house when I was 25, and I was in the downturn. I wish I would have bought 20 more, during that time, but,
Was it a foreclosure?
It was a short sale, actually.
Short sale.
It was.
Just similar.
Yeah. So I bought that.
Do you still own that house today?
I do not. I sold it.
You probably made some money.
I did. Made a little bit of money. When I bought it, I had a few roommates. I was doing house hacking and didn't really know what house hacking was, but I did that for a couple of years until I got married, and I stopped abruptly.
But you kicked all the roommates out and kept it as your house?
I did.
There you go.
I did. So, that was that. Then me and my wife, we had a townhouse for about 10 years that she bought before we got married, and we rented it out, but didn't really cash flow a whole lot. So about 5 years ago, we sold it, took the equity, and then started kind of building our portfolio and doing flips and BRRRRs and all the things.
I have never met your wife. Does she care about real estate investing?
A little bit. She supports me, but she's not in the weeds like I am. So,
right.
So helps me with a little bit of design work and things like that. But
so was there even like a point where she's like, "Oh, I'm worried about investing," or was it she already kind of on board from the beginning?
We had a conversation about it and telling her I wanted to go in seriously into real estate investing, and she was on board, supported me. So she was like, go get it.
That's cool.
So
yeah, my wife really loves it when I talk about real estate. Every day.
Every day.
She reminds me how much she doesn't want to hear another real estate story. Now, she supports me. Right. And it's like, if I'm making a real estate decision, I'm probably going to do the right choice. Otherwise, I wouldn't have this podcast.
Right. Yeah. She's kind of the same way. So,
yeah.
I'll tell her the good and the bad. But, she supports me and trusts me to do the right things.
So have you had a bad deal? Might as well let's jump in and say, tell us about your worst deal ever.
Let's see.
What was it? Why was it the worst?
So
how much money did you lose?
A couple of years ago, I bought a house that I intended to flip, but I was, probably didn't do enough due diligence and was off on the ARV, I think. Off on the ARV and the repairs. Were you going based on what the wholesaler told you? Wholesaler and an agent. Should have done a better job vetting the agent as well. They were kind of a friend of mine, but probably a better friend than agent. Sometimes that's how it goes. But so I didn't end up flipping it. What I ended up doing is owner financing it to a kind of a construction guy. So
you still flipped it?
Kind of. So he basically gave me a little bit of a down payment and pays me per month, and I got some long-term financing on it, and I make a little bit per month, and just kind of got out from under it. I had it for probably about 6 months. I was paying interest-only payments.
Whew.
So that's it was kind of like sort of like a down payment in a way, like a rental. So,
yeah.
Making a return on investment, but.
So had you buy it and fixed it up and put it on the market and it wouldn't sell?
I didn't fix it up.
Oh,
I was just like, if I try to fix this up, I'll probably lose money. I guess I could have rented it out, fixed it up, rented it out. But with interest rates and stuff, not a cash flow, unless I put a lot down. So going the owner finance route was probably the best bet.
So how much was it when you bought it?
It was
the price, yeah.
like $240.
So how much is it worth today?
Probably $350.
Bam! That's a worst deal.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah.
He just made almost $100,000 on a bad worst deal.
Right. Yeah.
But you're only really going to make that if you force that guy to sell it and pay you off. But
correct.
He gets to make it.
Exactly.
So really, you have your deal with him.
Exactly.
And if things go south,
yeah, if he doesn't pay me, then I get it. So it'd be a really good deal. But
Did you do a traditional wrap style mortgage or seller financing, or is it like a contract for deed?
Contract for deed.
Ooh.
Yes.
So he's totally down in the dirt if he stops paying.
That's
he
right.
loses all that equity.
Yes.
Man, did you even have that conversation with him?
The attorney did. So,
yeah. I think I'm going to start doing that with the buyers to let them know, here's how bad it's going to be if you lose the deal.
Right. You lose all your down payment and equity.
Right.
So, but yeah, hopefully he doesn't do that. Definitely don't want that to happen.
Right.
So,
was that your first investment deal?
No, that was not my first one.
Good. Well, tell us about your first one.
So my first deal, or first investment deal, true investment deal, was a deal not too far from here, kind of down the road. I intended it to be like a BRRRR and maybe keep $20,000 into the deal. Definitely underestimated my rehab. Probably ended up costing me, I don't know, $60,000 to rehab the place. I probably left, I don't know, maybe $50,000 into it. But since then it's appreciated like, I don't know, maybe almost 100,000.
Oh yeah.
And I got a super low interest rate on it. It's a great rental rate, and I plan on keeping it for a long time.
So you did BRRRR it.
I did.
Just didn't cash out as much as you would have liked.
Correct.
Right. So well, tell us the details. Like, how much did you buy it for?
Bought it for $162. I put, like I said, $60,000 into it.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time I refinanced, I think it appraised for $255.
And then they only give you like 75% or 70%.
75%, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I have like a 3.0 rate, 30-year mortgage.
Whew.
So
3%.
3%.
Investor loan.
Yes.
Wow. Nothing to do with being military or
nope.
Special.
This was in beginning of 2021, I think, when I did the refi.
Oh yeah, 2021.
So, yeah.
If we all had a time machine, would you go to 2021 or 2009?
I think 2009.
Yeah. Right. So that's not. So you cashed out and you got like a mortgage of. And wait, how much left?
Mortgage was like the 195, I think I got, but now it's like, I don't know, 180.
Yeah. So you didn't get to pull all your cash out.
No, some of it.
And you had some of that was private financing. So how did you work that deal out?
Yeah, so I got fortunate. I got this from a wholesaler friend of mine, some guys that I met at Ethan's meetup a few years back. I was fortunate enough to do a lease option through them. I guess they bought it cash. They were going to take it down, but they were like, we'll just wholesale it to me. And I paid them per month because they were kind of like a private lender. Mm-hmm. When I got done with the rehab, got a tenant in there and refinanced, paid them off.
I think I made them an offer $20,000 less than yours.
I probably would have done the same if I knew how much it was going to cost to fix it up. But
right, we were not.
It worked out.
We were not that close then.
It worked out.
But hey, like when you look back at overall, if you look at any investor that bought something and is still holding on to it,
yes,
they look like a genius.
Right.
So you're a genius. Welcome.
All you got to do is get started.
The history. Yep. And that was your. So you hadn't. That was your very first investment property.
Yes.
And you way under budgeted, but in the end, you still were okay because a renter came in and is paying you. You made money, even cash flowing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they pay me $2,200. So.
Wow, on 3%, that's great.
Yep.
Yeah. And now you got a ton of equity for your when you fill out your PFS for banks.
Correct. Correct.
By the way, what's a PFS?
People should personal financial statement.
Yeah. So, regardless of whether you've done a deal or not, I think you should always have a running PFS on your computer, just listing everything you owe and everything that you own, and hopefully it's in the positive. And then when you go to, whether it's a hard money lender, private lender, a dude who has money to lend, or especially like a local commercial bank, they'll ask you for your PFS.
Correct.
And so just keep it running. And that way you know how much your net worth is.
Yeah. It's good to keep track of your net worth, especially if you're running low on cash and, and you're getting depressed. You can look at like, well, at least I'm building equity and my net worth looks all right.
Right.
So, it's a good point.
Yeah. So in all your deals, have you paid any all cash only? Or do you have a note on every deal?
I have a note on every deal. Yes.
And you're still surviving.
Still surviving.
Wow. So man, you told us about your first deal and your worst deal. Tell us about your best deal so far.
Okay. I think my best deal so far is a deal that I got paid I'm going to get paid 4 different ways.
Ooh.
You hear about it?
No. We're going to stop the podcast here. Tell us about it.
So the best part of one of the best parts of the deal is it was a free deal as far as marketing wise.
Free deal.
So I got this from a referral from somebody. It was a guy that had some bad tenants in there. It was a rundown house. The tenants didn't take care of it. The owner was just ready to be done with it. And
the owner himself referred it, or an agent, or
a friend of his. Because I bought a house from a friend of his. Then he referred me to buy his fixer upper. Mm. So it was a little 3 bedroom, 1 bath house out in Crawford, Georgia.
Ooh, Crawford.
And bought it for $90,000. I put about $50,000 into it. It appraised for about $235,000.
Wow.
And I converted it to a 4.2 instead of a 3.1.
Wow, nice.
So that helped the appraisal.
Like, did you add square footage, or you just reconfigured
reconfigured it? They kind of had like two living rooms, and I just made one of those rooms a bedroom, and then added a master bath in that room.
There you go.
And so how I got paid 4 different ways is
let me hear that. I'm gonna take notes.
Yeah, so I owner financed it to a buyer. as a wrap. So the first thing I did was did a cash out refi. So I got a little paid that way. I cashed out maybe $10,000-$15,000.
So like a BRRRR.
Yeah,
like you might have BRRRRed it.
Like a BRRRR. I could have like rented it out to a traditional renter, but instead I owner financed to somebody. I think I got like a 7% rate on it. Owner financed it to a guy at like a 9% rate. He gave me a $20,000 down payment. So I got paid. That's the second way I got paid. Then I'm getting cash flow in, I don't know, $600 a month. And this is straight cash flow. I'm not paying maintenance, property management, CapEx stuff.
It's not like a rental. You are
Nope.
responsible for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I got paid, taxes and insurance, but I pass that on to the owner.
Right.
So that's the third way is cash flow.
Oh, so that's contract for deed also?
Contract for deed as well.
So why you keep doing these contract for deeds? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so contract for deed is also called like a land contract. And basically, the deed stays in my name until the buyer, completely pays me off, and they get put on the deed or title.
Right.
And the reason why I like to do it this way is because if I didn't do a traditional or didn't do a land contract, I would have to file for eviction or not. Sorry, I would have to file for foreclosure. That takes probably 6 months at least.
If they stop paying you.
If they stop paying me,
Yeah.
if
You don't just do that in the middle of the year.
no, yeah. If they stop paying me, if they
Right.
default on their loan, and so this way I could, just doing a traditional eviction, just like a regular tenant.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot faster, not as painful to do.
Yeah.
Definitely don't want to ever have to do that, but I'm sure if I have enough of them, I probably will run into it eventually. So yeah, I get paid from the down payment from the buyer, cashed out, paid that way. I get paid for the cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
Then eventually, if the buyer refinances out of it to like a traditional bank loan, like I'll get paid like the equity
A lump
of the house.
sum.
So whatever's the difference between my underlying mortgage and what he owes. So,
All right.
So a note.
Man. So it's working.
So that'd be my best deal so far.
The numbers sound great.
Yes.
So how did you get a deal for $90,000? That seems like they left a bunch of money on the table. Was it a desperate seller, dead seller? Like what? How was that?
Just a tired landlord. He's ready to get rid of it. I negotiated a little bit. I think he originally wanted like 100. I think.
And it's probably
making it
a
into
small town deal.
Small town deal.
Yeah.
Make it into a 4.2 definitely increased the value because I think originally I was thinking it would be worth, 180 or something like that.
Right.
As a 31. So, just add value to the house. It helps.
And so I think you live in Gwinnett.
I do.
Which is one of the most highly dense populations of all of Georgia.
Yes.
There's 1 million people in Gwinnett, at least.
There's a lot of people.
And there's a lot more houses. Why would you do deals out here when there's so many in your backyard?
So I do some deals in Gwinnett, but they're just a little bit lower in the price range.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit lower income as far as like a median income.
Gwinnett is
No.
out here.
Out here.
Out here.
Here in Athens.
We won't. No. Nobody's competing with us over here.
Right. Yeah. The price to rent ratios
There are no houses
a little bit
available.
better.
Yeah.
It's just and I find this probably it's a little bit safer when you're flipping houses to do it with the lower price points.
Oh, for sure. Smaller houses, lower price points, smaller mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. You're not susceptible to market changes as fast. If you're flipping a $500,000 house, market dips a little bit. It could be $50,000 pretty fast.
Right.
And also, I think I found that lower price houses tend to sell a little bit faster,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the market that we're in.
Right.
But I'm in both markets, but I tend to try to stay, median or a little bit lower for the home prices.
That's smart.
Yes.
So if you don't know about the small towns around here, call me your Scott.
Right.
So it seems like you keep on doing these contract for deeds, but like, are you doing regular flipping where you just put it on the MLS?
Correct.
I know the answer. But actually, I don't know how many you've done. I only know about the one.
Right. Yeah, I've done about 15 flips
15 flips.
so far.
And the first time you bought was in 2020.
Yes.
Bingo. Action.
Action.
You just need to get a shirt that says, I take action.
That's right.
So you still have a W-2 job.
Yes,
You travel around to sell stuff.
I do.
And you buy properties that are like an hour away from your house.
Yes.
How do you have time for this? How much actually? So we talked about it before. You didn't tell me how much time you worked on your real job. Your real job.
I'm in sales, so it can be flexible. Sometimes it's full 40 hours. Sometimes it's less. So it allows me to do real estate things, and allows me to do both. So
yeah.
But a lot of the houses I work or do projects on are an hour away. Sometimes even farther because I do deals out in Augusta, and that's about 2.5, 3 hours. But I have a team of people that help me. Sometimes I'll buy houses sight unseen, but I have boots on the ground. People like yourself, my contractors, real estate agents, property managers.
Yes.
Can't do it all. But
I think you definitely avoided a landmine with that Paris deal.
Yes. Yes.
Whew. It's important to have boots on the ground.
Right.
Sometimes the best price deal in the town seems like, oh, let's buy it.
Yep. Yeah.
But it was really a landmine.
It was.
Yeah. So what motivated you to like take action and do a whole bunch of deals instead of just like doing it slower and making sure each deal went right? Like, cause you would buy a deal and be in the middle of fixing it up and you're like, well, there's this other deal. I'll buy that one too.
Right. Well, my first one, I think I did that by itself. Just kind of learned. Then after that,
you learned it was not rocket surgery.
Right. Then after that, I did, so to back up, in the beginning of 2021, I joined a mastermind that focused on direct to seller marketing. So
it's real estate focused.
Real estate focused.
Which guys? Do you want to?
Yeah.
Do you want to say
CCF?
that?
It's called Create Cash Flow.
I've never even heard of that one.
Shout out. It's with
Ryan
Dossey is the redhead dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, joined that mastermind and learned about how to market, how to market directly to sellers.
Man, I was going to ask you that.
Yeah. So
it's a good segue.
Yeah. So, learning how to market for sellers with direct mail, postcards and letters.
Wait a second. That's it? You just send mail and postcards and you get deals.
That's not it. I've probably gotten deals from every way to get off market deals. So I've done mail, I've done cold calling, done texting, done PPC, pay per click. I think that's majority of
Yeah, there's definitely like I hear the question, and I've been guilty of it too. Like, what is the best thing I should do right now to find a deal? And really, it's like you should do a bunch of stuff. Do a bunch of stuff, and you're going to get deals if you want deals.
Right. I think it's whatever you're consistent at. It's if you're doing direct mail, it's going to take a little bit more money, but you get better quality leads.
Oh yeah.
So it kind of depends. What you.
Do you want to tell us your favorite way?
Favorite way? I think my favorite way is pay per click, because they fill out a form online. There's leads. You don't get very many of them, but they are very motivated most of the time. So you don't have,
because they know what they're doing. They're filling out a lead for you to call them to make an offer.
Exactly. They it's not, you're not trying to convince them too hard to sell their house at a discount. With direct mail, it's a little bit better quality, but you get a lot of tire kickers and usually a lot of follow up and back and forth and things like that. Every once in a while you get a lay down, but most of the time it's, you got to sell them on it.
Right. And so what do you could you care to tell us about how much you spend total on advertising versus, like, have you dialed in all your numbers? Like, I'm spending X amount on mail and then it costs per lead is this, but I'm making this much.
I don't think I've been consistent enough to give those type of numbers, but I'll say that,
we'll do that on our follow-up podcast.
Yeah, but,
2026.
Pay-per-click is probably going to cost you $2,000 a month. You might get a deal every 2 months, so $4,000 per deal. Mail, you can spend between $3,000 and $5,000, per campaign to get a deal.
Okay.
Kind of depends. I mean, you could spend $10,000, you could spend $1,000
to get a deal.
Yeah, it just kind of depends. So you might catch a seller at the right time to be able to get a deal.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah. How much are you spending on PPC?
It's running about $2,000 a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you're getting consistent deals, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it kind of depends on the area. Like, you have to make sure the area you're targeting is big enough. Sometimes you might not be able to spend that much. You might be able to only spend like $1,000 some months, or it could be $2,000. So
how much time do you devote to one of these methods before you got a deal? Some people got to learn patience, like myself. I got to learn patience.
Yes. Yeah, there's definitely, you're not going to get a deal, say you send out 5,000 letters or postcards, you might not get a deal under contract. Could take 3 months, could take 6 months. It kind of depends.
Right.
You have to be consistent.
Because once you get them on the phone, have you even measured it's probably pretty easy to figure out, even if you don't measure it, like from the first call until you actually close a deal.
Yeah, it's probably 10, 20 times, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Or even a year under contract.
It could be a year.
Probate problems.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So, here's a little different kind of question. You've been an investor since 2020.
Yes.
You still got a W-2.
Right.
How has this real estate stuff changed your life? Like, how many fancy cars do you have now? And how many beach houses do you own?
I do own a cabin, but it's also a short-term rental. So
was that a creative found deal?
Creative, yes, it was. I sent postcards to expired listings.
Ooh.
In the Blue Ridge area. So I found that property, got a somewhat of a deal of it. But like when I bought it, it was during the time where it was hard to find a cabin up there because everybody was, bidding on houses and over asking, and it was just hard to buy anything.
Were they a wonderful, unrealistic seller wanting $600,000 for a $200,000 cabin?
No, they were pretty reasonable. So they had already owned a couple of cabins, and it didn't take too much negotiating. So, but yeah.
All right.
So other than that, it's not a whole lot has changed. Net worth's gone up. Definitely I've been putting most of the money back into the business. So as far as buying fancy things, I hadn't really done that. It was kind of delayed gratification,
Right.
But eventually, hopefully sooner or later, I can quit my job and be in real estate full time. So that'll be pretty cool.
What's your timeline on that?
Maybe sometime next year.
Ooh, all right.
Yep.
Hopefully nobody at your business ever sees this. Or if they do, maybe they'll be your private lender.
Exactly.
So they can get out of their W-2 also.
That's right. That's right.
What would you say your best advice is to somebody who's sitting on the sideline, not taking action yet?
I would say, just do it. Take action. It's everything's kind of cliche, but surround yourself with people that are like-minded, have done stuff more than you. Network. Your network is your net worth.
Yeah.
Go to conferences, meet people.
Investor meetups.
That's how I really got started. Keep yourself accountable. Just do it. Take a little bit of risks, not too much, but you don't want to bankrupt yourself. But
right.
Just keep going. And I mean, it's going to be hard. It's not easy. It's going to be hard. You can get punched in the face a lot, but
so far, the biggest punch you had in the face, you still make money on it. You didn't even lose money.
Yeah.
Never going to happen. No.
So
you teamed up with guys like me.
That's right. I am stabilizing some properties in Augusta that are giving me some issues, but that's all right. In the long run, it'll be all right.
What's the lowest price you paid on an Augusta deal?
$75,000.
Whew.
So
it's like foreclosure times.
Yes. Maybe not for Augusta.
No, I mean, that's actually a normal price in Augusta.
Yeah.
I think you got ripped off.
Yeah, maybe. I did get, so it was 4 houses and 2 mobile homes. Basically
that was $75,000?
No, that was the total price was like $300, but
okay.
Basically got the way the contract was written up, I got the mobile homes for free. So
nice.
All right. And they've actually been the least amount of problems so far, which is kind of funny. 3 houses are no problems.
Yes.
But
don't be scared of mobile homes, people.
No, yeah. They're all good.
My first park was highly successful. And the cash flows always beats the 1% rule. Do you have any rule of that helps you decide whether to keep it as a rental or flip it? Or you just play it
right now? It's pretty
time?
Hard to have a rental.
Yeah.
To be honest, but before it was like 1%. I would say, try to cash flow $300 to $500.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah,
but yeah, right now it's tough for rentals if you got a note on them.
Right.
So
Scott Poore, do you have social media that you want people to reach out?
Sure, I got a Instagram and Facebook. Just type in Scott Poore. It's literally Scott Poore for Instagram.
Hey man, this guy's saying like Scott, like he's SCOT.
COT. One T.
First
1 T.
Scott with 1 T.
Yeah. Scott Poore Instagram, then Scott Poore on Facebook. So
all right.
That's it.
King of real estate right here. Thanks
a
lot.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.
Subscribe.